What is up, everybody? Welcome to The Stack. I'm Alex.
I'm Pete.
And on The Stack, we talk about a bunch of books that have come out this week. But before we get into it, we do have a packed stack for you today. Just a little note here at the top. We have been requesting that you all drop us some review requests, in the iTunes comments, either for old graphic novels, trades, or something else. Our most recent request was for the Empowered Omnibus, which we said we were going to review this week, but as it turns out, our third host, Justin, is actually not going to be in today.
I mean, so that guy's off getting famous. So
he is. He's off getting famous. So we're going to hold off on that, but if you do want to drop a request for a review, again, in the iTunes comments, please drop it there. We would love to check it out, and we will review Empowered Omnibus when all three of us are back together. But let's kick it off with some new stuff. Fantastic Four Reckoning War Alpha from Marvel, written by Dan Slott, art by Carlos Pacheco, Rafael Fonteriz, and Carlos Magno. This is a storyline that Dan Slott has basically been teasing his entire career at Marvel in various respects. So in this issue, we finally find out what's going on here. It turns out the Reckoning War was the first war in the Marvel Universe. It was the Watchers versus a group called the Reckoning, and they used weapons from the Watchers to nearly destroy the universe before the Watchers stopped them. And then ultimately decided, you know what, we can't do this anymore. We're just going to watch stuff. That's all that's going to go on. But a lot of what this book does is it takes the various threads and characters that Dan has been teasing out for the past several decades, I guess, at this point, and trying to bring it all together in one big epic storyline. So given all that build-up, Pete, what'd you think? How'd it turn out?
Holy shit. Dan is really killing it. He is taking on so much. There's so much in this issue. It is jam-packed of stuff. It is a lot. I had to read it twice, man. Like, it is a lot going on. At like edge to edge, this is just like just packed. It's like Dan Slott's like, you know what, Hickman? I can do this shit too, bro. What's up?
Well, I think what comes across, and maybe this is part of knowing the backstory here, but what comes across is this is something that has been sitting in his head for years at this point, and it feels like it's all bursting out in this issue. It's just all this like, I did the stuff on She-Hulk, and I did the stuff on Fantastic Four, and I did the stuff on Spider-Man, and all of these things are coming together, and here we go, and let's put it all in here, and okay, all right, we go. And because of that...
impression.
What? Thank you very much. And because of that, it does have this great feel of those classic crossovers like Secret Wars or something like that, where there are so many things happening at the same time and so many big things happening. I think it almost feels very retro in that way versus a lot of modern events are like, here's one idea, now we're going to play that out slowly over the course of 7 issues. I don't think that's what's going on here at all. This is bringing together a lot of different threads from the Marvel Universe. It's a lot of fun. There's fun moments throughout here. And I think, as usual, Dan does what he does so well, which is if you don't know anything about any of this stuff, you can still read it and be absolutely fine. And that's very impressive.
Yeah, I think this is very exciting to see what's going on. There's a lot of huge kind of moments. There's some real oh shit moments in here for sure. I wanted to slow down a little bit so I can catch up, but man, this is very exciting and a hell of a first issue. I really can't wait to see how this is all going to unfold.
Me too. Next up, Monkey Prince #1 from DC Comics, written by Gene Luen Yang, art by Bernard Chang. This is expanding on a core character that they introduced previously and tying in very nicely to the Lunar New Year. Now, this is about a kid who finds out that he has the powers of the mythical Monkey Prince and comes right up against Batman. So is it setting up a new hero in the DC universe, or is it setting up a new villain? Either way, I had a blast reading this. It's very fun, and the art by Bernard Chang is great as well.
Yeah, unbelievable. Great art. Really interesting story. Batman sure looks like a dick in this comic, which is interesting. Also, you know, heads just kind of fall off apparently. Like, it's an issue. But yeah,
I think you know this story, right? But I was dating a girl who said, "Whatever you do, don't take the yellow ribbon off of my neck," and that was all I could think about night and day.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with it.
And then
you just yank it a little bit.
No, all right, this is getting weird. But yeah, I think this is a solid kind of start to this. It's a fantastic first issue.
Absolutely. Next up, speaking of fantastic first issues, New Masters, #1 from Image Comics, written by Shof Coker, art by Shof Coker. This is a new, very wild world that takes place in a post-apocalyptic society where really, as far as we can tell, the only burgeoning or functioning civilization is in Africa. There's this whole wild, interdimensional, multiversal treasure hunt that's going to be going on here. There's so many ideas at play, but I loved discovering every single one of them. And in particular, the art by Shof Coker is pretty phenomenal here throughout. And there's some great character designs. Pete, how did this one strike you?
Yeah, I agree. The character designs are great. Art's unbelievable. This is a really another great first issue, but I really love this. I love the main character. I love her mechanical sidekick. I think this is just from the first time we kind of see this character, we're like, oh yeah, this is my guy. This is my person. We're going to kind of roll through this adventure, and I'm excited about it. I think this character's very interesting and different enough that really kind of sets it apart from other comics. I'm really impressed with this first issue. This kind of post-apocalyptic world seems interesting through this character's eyes.
The X-Cellent #1 from Marvel, written by Peter Milligan, art by Michael Allred and Laura Allred. This is continuing the story told in Ecstatics, and here we have a new team called the X-Cellent, who is kind of the evil social media savvy version of the Ecstatics, while they're trying to regain some of their former glory at the same time. As usual with this book, first of all, I love the Allred's art so much. I will read absolutely anything that they put together.
Worth it for the art alone is what you're saying?
I am saying worth it for the art alone, but also worth it for the story alone, because Peter Milligan does such a good job of skewering social media and comics and fandom and all of these things. It's so smart and so funny, and I'm just excited to be back in this part of the Marvel Universe again.
Yeah, Peter Milligan, unbelievable writer. I definitely have loved a ton of his stuff. This is for me like very creative, unbelievable art. It does get tripped out in ways that sometimes lose me, but still definitely really cool and worth checking out.
I love the idea here of that Ecstatics was all about reality stardom, and that's not what stardom is anymore, so that the X-Cellent are dealing instead with social media stardom. So this friction between what isn't even old media, but like 2-year-old media and current media is just very smartly told. Again, really enjoying it quite a bit.
And as somebody who works in the media, you got to kind of feel both sides to this, right? 'Cause
I feel
old, but then young teen shows make you feel alive again and young.
I feel like I connect really well with the teens.
Oh my god, that was the creepiest thing you've ever said.
Detective Comics #1051 from DC Comics, written by Mariko Tamaki, Matthew Rosenberg, art by Max Raynor, Fernando Blanco. In this issue, once again, we're getting 2 stories here. The front story is all about Arkham Tower and what's going on there. Turns out they're being manipulated by Psycho Pirate, and it's all part of a big con just to get some moolah. And in the backstory, we're finding, once again, a story of a young kid who may be a villain, maybe a hero. We'll see what happens.
Oh, my God. All right. First off, this continues to be awesome. There's this, Psycho Pirate, not one of my favorites, but used well here. And what an interesting kind of idea with the whole Arkham deal. It's all going to go horribly wrong, and in this issue we kind of have a little bit of a slip. But man, also the backup, like this kid. Oh, I don't know which way this is gonna go. I mean, now the kid is getting kind of like lured in by Penguin, and this is just continues to be such an interesting idea and so well done. Amazing art all around. Just a great package here, because you're getting a fantastic main story and then an unbelievable backup.
Yeah, I love this so much. I mean, I know you were kind of joking about it with the last issue, but thank you for making us read the beginning of this, because this was so good. This honestly has passed by Batman for me in terms of being one of the best Batman stories,
Wow.
even though he's not even in it. He's barely in it at all.
Yeah,
you know?
Batman who?
It's so good. It's just a good Gotham City story, but the front story, like the thing that's working about Psycho Pirate here is Mariko Tamaki writes him as a dweeb, which he is, and it just makes so much sense. It works for this con. It works for this thing.
And you can say that because you're a dweeb.
Exactly. It's the first time I saw myself on screen. And the back story, like you were talking about, is almost like this Oliver type thing of this sad, poor kid who gets kicked around to various people. Yeah. I love where this is going. It's going in so many different directions that I did not expect. Very exciting stuff. Let's move on and talk about Geiger, 80-page giant #1 from Image Comics, written by Big Deep Breath here. Geoff Johns, Peter J. Tomasi, Sterling Gates, Leon Hendrix III, Pornsak, Pichetshote, Janet, Harvey, Nevala, and Jay Faerber. Art by Gary Frank, Bryan Hitch, Peter Snejbjerg, Kelly Jones, Staz Johnson, Sean Galloway, Megan Levin, Joe Prado, and Paul Pelletier. This is a bunch of different stories told in the world of Geiger, who is a radioactive man in a post-apocalypse. Here we're getting to see a bunch of things, including the kickoff of a new series called Redcoat, which is going to be by Geoff Johns and Bryan Hitch in the same world, as well as a bunch of stories told about the different casinos that are still active in this post-apocalyptic Vegas. I'll tell you what, I don't know if we are all sort of 50-50 is probably too strong, but like, took a while for
Geiger. Of us, so yeah, 50-50 is right.
I'll say 33. Geiger, I love the Gary Frank art. It took me a while to get into the story. I thought this collection was awesome. I really liked it a lot. I loved a lot of the stories. There was, I think it was Sterling Gates and Kelly Jones. I could be wrong. We're working on the story about not Bela Lugosi. It's another, sort of old school monster movie thing. Like, they were just sort of a bunch of dark Twilight Zone-ish tales. It was set in this world, and I thought they were so cool and so enjoyable. What did you think about this issue, Pete?
Yes. I'm trying to look it up, which one it was. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted there. Yeah, I as one of the Geiger heads on this podcast, I think that there some really great tales in this, especially the heartwarming tale of how he got that two-headed beast dog. Really cool. Glad we got that story in. Yeah, I think unbelievable art, some great storytelling. You really get a ton for your money in this giant 80-page extravaganza.
The end of, I think it was the 6th issue of Geiger, which revealed this wasn't just a radioactive man story, but a bigger world that Geoff Johns was building with these collaborators. Mm-hmm. It really feels like between that and this 80-page giant that the lid is off in terms of what he is trying to do here, that it almost felt like it was kind of holding back on, we've got these secrets for the first couple of issues. Now that we're past that, I'm excited to see what happens with Geiger. I'm excited to see what happens with this character Redcoat, who is a dude who basically has been cursed since the Revolutionary War and is still walking around in this post-apocalyptic landscape. There's a robot guy. There's an ultimate evil they need to fight. Great stuff. And the art is gorgeous. It's an all-star team that was put together here. So even if you haven't read Geiger, I think you can jump in and pick this up. Next up, Savage Spider-Man #1 from Marvel, written by Joe Kelly, art by Gerardo Sandoval. This is not exactly a new #1 because it's continuing non-stop Spider-Man. Now Spider-Man is on an island. He is a big spider beast, and chasing around some people and turning them into spider beasts as well. Pete, you're a big Joe Kelly fan. What did you think about this one?
Yeah, this is really awesome. It's a little kind of like, because the Savage Spider-Man is a little like disheveled, so we're not sure all the things that are happening and why. But man, it's really intense and really funly over the top. Great Baron Zemo here. Always fun. Yeah, Joe Kelly does a great job with humor and action, and I think this is really on display here in this kind of like yoked up, beef caked out issue. That's all just kind of over the top and fun.
Man, that's your new word, huh? Yoked.
Yeah, I guess so.
One Star Squadron, number 3 from DC Comics, written by Mark Russell, art by Steve Lieber. In this issue, Red Tornado thinks he's going to get fired the entire time. There's a little bit of a twist there, but he is continuing to work at this app that sells hero services. Superman is coming for them in this issue. I continue to really love this book. Mark Russell's parody muscles are unparalleled. Steve Lieber is perfect for it as well. If you haven't listened to it, Mark Russell was on our live show podcast a couple of weeks back.
He was
and talked about this book quite at length. So it was fun to chat with him about that. Pete, I know you've been a little on the fence about this, but what are you feeling about this issue?
This is sad, man. I mean, it's sad to see superheroes struggle with day jobs. You know what I mean? Like, what hope do I have? You know what I mean? If if Red Tornado can't do it, how the hell can I do it every day?
Well, think about it this way instead: is you have a leg up because you have nothing else going on for you.
Ouch, man! Ouch! That fucking really hurt, bro. So I guess 1 star. I guess one star.
1 star.
Yeah.
This book is great. Next up, New Bird, number 3 from Image Comics, written by Chip Zdarsky, art by Jacob Phillips. If you haven't been picking up this book, first of all, it's great. But second of all, it is about a dude who works for all of the different mob families in New York City, solving mysteries for them. In this one, once again, he solves a mystery, but all of the different mob families are at his throat the entire time. It's interesting because it backseats his assistant, who has been our window character for this book. But I love the done-in-one nature of the mysteries of this book, something that I wasn't necessarily expecting for the first issue, but they're completely nailing here. What'd you think about this one, Pete?
Yeah, I really love this, especially this issue. Love all the action, love the art's unbelievable, kind of this noir, kind of whodunit thing. Yeah, I was really happy we got some closure, some answers a little bit in this issue. Continues to build in a really well done way. This is just a really well done comic book, and I think you can hold it up to people who are like, hey, I want to read comics. Check this fucking thing out.
Wow, aggressive.
Yeah.
Also, why are you shoving comics in their face, Pete?
Yeah, dude, people ask me what they, you know what I mean? It's like,
and you're like, read this.
Chew on this.
Man. Sabretooth, number 1 from Marvel, written by Victor Laval, art by Leonard Kirk. Now, this is a book about Sabretooth, who, when we last saw him, had killed another mutant, I believe, and so because of that crime, they wanted to make an example of him, threw him into a deep pit underneath Krakoa, and we're like, you're going to stay there for approximately 1,000 years or so, and we'll see what happens. Naturally, for Sabretooth, it doesn't quite work out that way, but Pete, I believe this was your issue of the week, so what did you think of it? What drew you to it in particular?
Well, I felt so seen. You know what I mean? Like, Sabretooth is really getting my perspective. It starts off with it simply saying, I'm in hell. And it's him looking around this shitty new X-Men status quo. And I'm like, I hear you, Sabretooth. This is bullshit. And he's like, yeah, look at these clowns. That guy can't even see out of that. He looks like a lollipop. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like Sabretooth's in my head. It's really just fantastic to see him making these comments that everybody knows and feels. I felt like this was really great. Ton of action and great use of Cyclops. You know, just like ripping his face off and just pointing his little pointy head around and zapping people. Really, just awesome. You know what I mean? It feels good. It feels great.
I like this maybe for different reasons than you liked it.
Also, the art. I mean, come on.
It's great. Just the idea of taking Sabretooth and breaking him down to a point where he's like, I've done everything that I need to do. I've done everything that I've ever wanted to do. I've killed everybody that I've ever wanted to kill. Not getting, this is a big spoiler here, so tune out if you don't want to listen, but if you don't want to know. But getting him to a point where he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't kill everybody for pleasure, and instead turning him essentially into the mutant devil of Krakoa is kind of genius. It doesn't redeem him. It actually makes him more evil and more horrible, if anything. And the C-list mutants that they throw up against him at the end here, I'm so worried for them at the end of this issue. It's great. This is not what I expected at all. This is not what I thought it was going to be at all, but I'm very excited to read this story going forward.
Yeah, and there's this idea of like, all right, you're going to throw me in the pit. I'm going to make the pit my kingdom, and you come down here, you're going to have to answer to me. Just fun twists. Very cool take. Great use of Sabretooth. Just fantastic.
There you go. Nocterra, number 7 from Image Comics, written by Scott Snyder, art by Tony S. Daniel. This is kicking off the second arc of this huge hit comic book, as our main character has pivoted from not caring about anything to deciding, you know what, actually, maybe we could save the world from the blackness and shades that have engulfed it. Of course, there's going to be a couple of, speed bumps along the way. Not to
come on, sorry, dude. Come on, man.
I'm sorry. But this is great, and this is pointing to a very classic team up that is going to go on here with the bad dude in the book. But it doesn't shy away from horror the entire time. Pete, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, Scott on our show was talking about this when he was on, and was very excited.
Was he on our show, Pete? I didn't know, Pete.
Okay, great. Yeah,
he was on our show. Yes, you should check it out.
It's fun when you make fun of me like that. Anyways, yeah, sure. So it was one of those things where I really love the evolution of this. Like, we got this kind of like Blacktop Bill origin story, and now we're kind of getting the team that's going to assemble to try to take this evil down. I love the kind of like, the trucks and all the stuff that we get in this. This is exciting. I'm excited for where this is going to go. This is really cool how this story is all unfolded too. Like, from where it started to where it is, only in 7 issues. Pretty impressive.
I agree. Next
also,
up,
art's bananas.
Bananas. World of Krypton, number 3 from DC Comics, written by Robert Venditti, art by Michael Avon Oeming. In this issue, Zod is going hog wild with the Phantom Zone on Krypton, while Krypton itself is slowly falling apart. I continue to really like this book, and in particular, I was struck in this issue by Michael Oeming's art, which... This is kind of dumb of me, but I guess I didn't realize in the first 2 issues that it was specifically channeling Jack Kirby for a lot of this arc. That feels much clearer in this issue in terms of the influence, and that to me is the standout. Robert Venditti, always a really good writer, but the standout here to me is Michael Avon Oeming's art, which is just gorgeous to look at throughout.
Yeah, I mean, I want to really take a moment and talk about something Alex hasn't talked about yet. The art in this book is bananas. I mean, wow, just really old, another level. Reminds me of something. No, okay. But also really fun. We get crypto here. A little bit of a crypto origin story. Very exciting. Like the Jewel Valley kind of backdrop here. Very cool. I'm not a fan of Krypton. I don't like it when we go to Krypton, but I'm enjoying this book still. Cool.
There you go. Next up, crossover number 11 from Image Comics, written by Donny Cates, art by Geoff Shaw. In this issue, we're getting the pickup on the big, huge, game-changing cliffhanger of the last issue, that it turns out the architect behind everything that's got out of the book, the dome around Denver, the comic book characters that are escaping from said dome, is none other than Donny Cates. Who is a character in this book. It is admittedly in the book something where he's like, this is kind of obvious. You knew this was going to happen. But there's still a couple of twists to go here. And as it turns out, there's some huge things coming down the way. Can I mention what happens at the end here? Because
oh man, I don't know if you want to spoil it for people. It's quite a reveal.
Well, so here's the thing, is that we already have multiple comic book characters that have been in here, true to the title. Madman has been a major part of the book. The past couple of issues, the characters from Powers, I'm going to get their names wrong, but Christian Walker and Dina Pilgrim, I think, have been investigating exactly what's going on and what's been causing the dome. They've been talking to Donny Cates about it, as well as Bryan Michael Bendis and Michael Avon Oeming, among other people.
Oh, inside baseball.
And in this issue, a trap is sprung. I'm going to go ahead and say it because I still cannot believe that Donny Cates is getting away with this. At the end of the issue, the characters from Powers are trapped on a baseball field with none other than Negan from The Walking Dead.
Oh, man!
He comes out with his baseball, with Lucille, and is basically probably going to kill them next issue. I cackled out loud. Like,
that reveal was unbelievable to me. And I was kind of like, you can't. Did you just wait?
And also, just imagine he's in black and white, because they're all comic book characters, so it's everybody else is in color. Yeah. He walks out in black and white on this baseball.
But also in this comic, one of the things I've always wanted to do is punch somebody through a wall and then yell at them to read more comics. I mean, this is it was joked as this huge event or whatever, but man, this is a ton of fun.
It's so good. I do think, and
Art's unbelievable.
Geoff Shaw's art is phenomenal. Like, it's through the roof throughout every single thing here, and I can't believe he's drawing all these characters so well. But a lot of this book is Donny Cates as a character talking about, like, it was just going to be this love story between these two characters, and my outline got way out of control on me, which is a very meta commentary on clearly what's happening with the story. But as a reader, there is a part of me that's like, okay, so get beyond this then. I want to see what's next, because I understand that this got away from you. You are commenting on the fact that this is ludicrous, that you brought yourself into the book.
It's like the moment in Spaceballs where they catch up to the part of the movie, and you got to fast forward to see what's next.
Exactly. That's exactly the reference.
Fast forwarding, sir.
100%. But I want to get past this arc so I can see, like, okay, I am actually invested in the story. So once you've gotten this meta stuff out of your system, what is next? What is going to happen next? Very excited to see that. This has been such a blast to read. Next up, Dark Knights of Steel, number 4 from DC Comics, written by Tom Taylor, art by Bengal. In this issue, we're getting a flashback as Bruce Wayne learns more about his origin story, how the L's came to this medieval time period and what changed there, and ultimately how he came to be a bastard son of the Wayne family and the L's. As usual, this is a really beautiful story here, and this is just like, as usual with Tom Taylor stuff, just really punching above its weight, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's this really cool idea, very creative, different, amazing art. This is fun.
All right. Last but not least.
Wait, what was that? What?
No, I don't know. It felt like maybe you don't like it. You didn't have a lot to say about it.
Well, I don't want to...
No, go ahead. You're allowed to say you don't like stuff.
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just, for me, like, the reveal was like,
You don't like cheating.
Sure, yes. I do not like cheating ever. But also, like, the whole Green Lantern of it all was like...
Oh, okay. So this is a big spoiler for the book, but it turns out that Lex Luthor is the Joker and also a Green Lantern, which you're not a fan of?
Yeah, I was like, but I don't want to take away from the book, so that's why I was trying to be cool about it. But then you,
it's all right, man. We do a review podcast. You're allowed to review stuff.
Right, but I don't. We love comic books. I love comic books. You know what I mean?
It doesn't take away from the comic books if you offer up a little criticism. It's okay, man.
I don't know, man.
You've been. I don't know why you're being precious about this. When anytime we mention an X-Men comic book for the past year, you're like, "Fuck this shit. I hope it dies. I hope everybody at Marvel catches the plague and wastes away."
That's not what I've ever said. I've never said that.
All right, you know what?
Gordon D. White works at Marvel.
This is.
Right?
I'm talking to our producer now. Can you play back the tape?
Hello, everybody. I'm Peeler Page. I hope everybody at Marvel dies of the plague because of X-Men. This is my voice.
Thanks so much, Barry. I really appreciate you playing that back.
Barry?
Our producer.
Oh.
Last but not least, The Scumbag, number 12 from Image Comics, written by Rick Remender, art by Roland Bashi. In this issue, the entire world has been turned into a 1950s-style dreamland, and our scumbag is running through it, trying to escape, trying to turn things back to normal, and as he does, he encounters classic characters from the 50s and 60s, including the Fonz and also the Archie Comics characters, at least this world's riff on them. Pete, what'd you think about this one?
Well, it continues to be ridiculously insane and over-the-top fun. Crazy kind of depiction of characters we know and love, but that's the kind of shock that you would kind of want for this. I want Scumbag to stop being a scumbag and start being better. So
I want Spider-Man to stop being both a spider and a man. Go on.
Oh, go fuck yourself. But I really thought that last panel, I was like, you know what? If this is what it's going to take for Scumbag to start learning, then this is the only way it's going to happen. I thought it was pretty funny setup.
This is easily the most ludicrous issue of this comic so far. 100%.
And that's saying a lot.
That is saying a lot. But I still enjoyed it. It's fun. They're having a good time. And Roland Bashi's art is a lot of fun in here, too. Yeah. It almost feels a lot more like a Mad Magazine thing than an Image Comics intense serious book.
I'm sorry. What did you say the artist's name was?
Roland Bashi.
Oh, okay.
What did you think I said?
I thought you said, Roland Abachi.
Like, hey, Roland Abachi. I'm a Roland Abachi.
What just happened? Okay, my bad.
Not 100% sure. If you'd like to support our podcast, patreon.com/Comic Book Club. Also, we do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. to podcast on YouTube. Come back out. We would love to chat with you about comic books, iTunes, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show at Comic Book Live on Twitter, comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, we'll see you at the virtual comic book shop.